Please take your seats quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Hi guys, welcome to 1minutetennis.com. In today's session, I want to talk to you about how to marry and blend the rotation of the body with the more linear swing path of the arm in the forehand and in the one-handed backhand. And I want to show you a really simple way of getting the feel of this. And by feeling it, you can apply it into your game and your strokes almost immediately. If you're able to employ what I'm going to show you here, then you should hit harder, faster and easier forehands and backhands almost immediately. As we make the ground strokes, forehands, backhands and two-handed backhands, although the trick I'm going to show you doesn't really apply to the two-handed backhands, but as we make the ground strokes, what happens is that we have a rotation of the body. As the body begins the stroke, the initiator of the kinetic chain is always the body, and the body is making a rotational movement into contact with the ball. But on contact with the ball, the arm wants to fly forwards in a kind of linear motion. It's a little bit like if you imagine we had a roundabout here and you were holding onto the edge of the roundabout and then you let go. You're not going to continue in a rotation. You're going to go flying in a direct line until there's a kind of unhappy ending. So we want to be here and then through and then back into rotation. And this can be very confusing. When you look at the pros, it looks so easy, but it isn't easy. Recreational players all over the world tend to drop into one of two categories. Players who have a linear stroke and they're very consistent, but don't have real power. They're never going to hit anybody off the court, and they hit a glass ceiling around 3.0, 3.5 level. And then you have players who rotate into the stroke beautifully and they have high loopy balls, but they don't get any real penetration. And especially under pressure, that player will tend to be consistent, heavy topspin, but once again, not get real power in the ground strokes. So we need to find a way of marrying the rotation and the linear movements to create powerful but safe topspin strokes. And I'm going to show you a great trick and a series of progressions on how to do this. Because the stroke happens in such a short period of time and we need to focus on watching the ball and moving in relation to the ball, then it's really difficult sometimes to think about changing the technique, especially when the change is kind of unnatural. But it's easy if we can just feel it. So what I want you to do is to begin the stroke by holding the racket at the grip here and on the tip of the racket here. And now as we make a shadow stroke, I'm going to take the racket back and make the swing with both hands staying on the racket. So back and forwards. On the one-handed backhand, back and forwards. And back and forwards. And this is a totally rotational stroke. And it feels very restricted because I've moved any tendency to a linear movement through the ball from the stroke. I simply can't do it as I keep hold of the racket in this fashion. Now we're going to separate very slightly. So maybe have 6-8 inches, 20-30 centimeters from the hand to the racket, and I make the same movement. And naturally the racket started to project a little way away from my hand, with the hand holding the racket and with the hand close to the racket. On the backhand, with the hand holding the racket, and now with the hand close to the racket, and the racket naturally projects away. So now I'm going to make a larger gap between them, but still use the two hands to initiate the stroke. The rotation, and the racket starts to pull away. The rotation, and the racket starts to pull away. This is natural. By restricting yourself to totally rotating in the stroke, it's so unnatural, it's so uncomfortable. The moment that you release the racket, you begin on the journey to the desired effect of rotation with a linear movement. So now, further apart, we split here, here and swing. And on the backhand, here, here and swing. And now we're going to end with the full swing. But I'm only going to do that when I do all the progressions. So just copy this at home right now. And we go from here to here, now slightly apart to here, now further apart to here, and now separate the arm to here. And you'll be blending and marrying the linear movement with the rotational movement. On the backhand the same. Together, slightly apart, further apart, and now separate. The reason these progressions are so effective is that the player whose preference is a linear motion is now forced into rotation, and so now they'll blend the rotation with their natural linear stroke. The player who over-rotates now will feel very restricted when they're forced into an extreme over-rotation, and so then it's kind of natural for them to moderate the rotation and add a linear movement. And then, as we make the full stroke, we have this lovely marriage, this combination of linear and rotational forces. You get more speed, more power, and an easier stroke, both on your forehand and on your one-handed backhand. The principles are the same on the two-hander, but this trick doesn't work for the two-hander. It works fantastically for the one-handed backhand and for the forehand. If you like this idea, check out our books, check out our online courses, and our online one-to-one coaching. Everything we do is designed to help you to reach the next level. We're helping players of all ages, all levels, all over the world with the unique services that really work. So add rotation and linear movement to your ground strokes. Hit faster, harder, and smoother today. Thanks for watching, and see you next time for more unique tennis lessons that really work.